spin. There's contact as Irwin tries to go by.
Mark's a lot smarter than that. I've raced with him clean several times, and I mean, I just don't understand it. He destroyed my day. I mean, he may have finished my season for me. I mean, thanks to him, it may be over.
It's my mistake. All I can do is apologize to him, and hopefully we'll be able to run next week.
ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports, welcomes you to the picturesque Kentucky Speedway for the second annual Indy Racing League Infiniti Pro Series Kentucky 100. Hello, everyone. I'm Jerry Punch, along with Indy Racing League veteran Davey Hamilton. Glad to have you with us here in beautiful northern Kentucky. What a finish last week in that race in St. Louis. We'll talk more about that in just a moment. Now, through the first 8 events of the season, Mark Taylor has dominated this series through about every category, from points to poles to wins to laps led. Look at how many laps he has led compared to some of the lap leaders in other series. Look at Jeff Gordon in Winston Cup, 15%. Taylor has led a dominating 64% of the laps in this series. And so it's a little wonder you would see tempers flare and frustrations boil over when you have a chance to beat a Mark Taylor like last week and you can't quite pull it off.
Can't quite pull it off. Brandon Irwin needed to win that race to just keep racing in the Indy Pro Series, but unfortunately, it's last lap. Guys are racing hard, things happen, and that's racing. But Jeff Simmons, his first win, was a great win for him.
It was a great win for him. Now, speaking of breaking news, you know, the competition hasn't been able to stop Mark Taylor, but maybe something else has, right, Amy?
Well, that's right, Jerry, and we know for a fact that Mark Taylor will not lead a lap here at all. In fact, he won't even turn a lap here at Kentucky Speedway. Earlier this morning, he went to the infield care center, severely dehydrated, maybe food poisoning, possibly a flu bug. But whatever it is, it has the young Dominator down for the day, and he will not compete in today's event. So even though he has won the first 2 super speedways so far this year, 1.5 miles at Miami and Kansas, we'll have a new super speedway winner here today.
Wow, Amy, how about that? The points leader is not going to race today. That's for sure really narrow things up. Just take a look at Hamilton's hot tips. How truly appropriate, Davey, that here in the bluegrass area of Kentucky where horses are king today, it's all about horsepower.
Well, you're going to need horsepower on this racetrack. 1.5 mile, fairly high bank racetrack here at Kentucky. You're flat out all day long, so you definitely need that horsepower to get you around this racetrack. Secondly, it's drafting again. We're back to a drafting racetrack. These long straightaways and fast corners allows you to try to take advantage of people trying to get that toe. And then third of all, very bumpy. You got horsepower, you got drafting, you're flat out around here, but you got to be careful. This track was very, very bumpy a couple weeks ago. Kentucky has done a great job trying to smooth it out, but there's still a lot of bumps out there, and the guys are going to have to be careful when they're going to pass people.
How about that? How clever. Grab your partner, do-si-do. It's all about drafting today here in Kentucky. Getting set for the Kentucky 100. There's a look. Jeff Simmons, Brandon Irwin, who was in that little altercation at the end of last week, came so close to getting his first win a week ago. Back in row 2. Remember, Mark Taylor not starting. Tom Wood looking for his first win of the year. He made his first start in this series here a year ago. And Tiago Medeiros from Brazil, look for him to be very strong. Quickest in practice earlier yesterday. Back in row 3, Aaron Fike, who won at Pikes Peak, and Billy Rowe, a 2-time participant in the Indianapolis 500. Back in row 4, Corey Witherill, looking for his first win of the year. Runner-up finish last week. His 2 runner-up finishes this year came last week at St. Louis and at Indianapolis early in the year. And Ed Carpenter, who won at Indy. Back in row 5, Ari Lyondike Jr. What a story. A car was nearly destroyed in morning warm-up. Comes back for a 3rd-place finish last week. And Paul Dana driving for Brian Stewart. In row 6, Gary Peterson and G.J. Menon, team cars. They came here and tested last week. Both ran very, very well in the test. Getting set for the start here at Kentucky.
Green.
And Jeff Simmons, who won at St. Louis a week ago, picking up his very first Indy Racing League Infiniti Pro Series victory for Western Union and Team Duesenberg, leads him down. Here is Tiago Medeiros making a move as you look back from Simmons' onboard camera.
How about Tiago on that start? What a great start for him, getting him beside Brandon Irwin. See if he can hold on to that fight for second.
Tiago Medeiros, who finished second in the opener this year at Miami Homestead Speedway. After sitting on the pole, has 2 second-place finishes there at Homestead and Pikes Peak. Right along with the Delphi Futaba onboard. A.J. Foyt very high as Ed Carpenter driving for A.J. Foyt as I catch my breath.
I was just getting ready to say Ed Carpenter, he made up a lot of spots. He's getting ready to move into 4th place. Got up a little high in turn 2. Almost lost control. Now he's falling back and trying to get going again.
I'm sure Ed had to grab his breath again too as he falls back in line there behind Corey Witherill. Indy Racing League Infiniti Pro Series action continues in just a moment. Our Speed World coverage of Infiniti Pro Series action from Kentucky Speedway is being brought to you by Firestone, America's tire since 1900. Here's a look at the top 6. Simmons, Irwin, Wood, Medeiros, Ed Carpenter. A moment ago, back on lap 13, Corey Witherill had a frightening moment. The car went way up across the racetrack in turn 2.
Yeah, that caught his attention for sure, and I think it may be a situation down in turns 1 and 2. It is still very, very bumpy down there, and where they grounded, like I said earlier, it's a little slick down there. You may get an area that's been grounded that's fairly smooth and slide up just a little bit. So Corey must have found that spot, or those few spots, and almost had contact with the wall coming down the back straightaway.
These 4 cars here have pulled away to about a 2-second advantage over the 5th place car of Ed Carpenter. You can barely see Carpenter to the top of your screen in the back here as Brandon Irwin again makes a run coming off the corner trying to get to the outside of Simmons.
Well, the start-finish line was in the back straightaway. Brandon would be looking good because he's leading him at the center of the back straightaway. But by the time they come off of turn 4 and get back to the start-finish line of the front straightaway, he has to tow him back and get behind him.
Now we'll see if Brandon Irwin can pull out. Irwin's so close to maybe being able to slide by and pick up his first win a week ago. They weren't sure if this team would even be back this week. Sam Smith stepped up, who owns the team, along with the Natural Golf people, to make sure Brandon Irwin and his team would get back. And they are very close, I am told, to a sponsor to come on board with Natural Golf to allow this team to run the remainder of the year.
Well, let's hope that they are, because last week he had opportunity to win the race, ran second. They were qualified in the front row in both the Sam Schmidt cars, had a great run, but they didn't get that win they needed. And Brandon needing a sponsor to come to this race. Fortunately, some guys threw in and brought him here. And you can see Brandon is working on Jeff Simmons. But one thing, Brandon always has to go outside because Jeff Simmons is not going to give up that inside line. He's going to stay on the bottom as much as he can. And if he gets past, he's going to make him do it on the outside at this point.
We talked to some of the Indy Racing League people, and particularly driver coach Rick Mears, about his take on what happened at the end of last week's event.
The way I looked at it, you know, both parties had a hand in it, so and hopefully they both learned some lessons from it, and that's the key. That's the main thing, is that, you know, they both, you know, had their opinions of the way things went and should have gone or whatever. But bottom line for me is that, you know, they take something away from that in experience and learning on what they could have done differently, both of them. So, and I think that's pretty well understood.
And Rick Mears, that's what he is doing in this series as a driver coach, to help explain what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong. But those guys, I mean, Brandon Irwin wants to win. 2 laps to go. Mark Taylor has led the first 78 laps. Taylor gets high. Irwin tries to make the pass. There's contact. They both end up pushing and shoving a little bit and didn't come to blows. But they talked about it this week in the garage area. I think they both understood they each wanted to win the race. Now, Jeff Simmons is the guy they're chasing here. Let's check in his pits with Amy East.
Well, so far there hasn't been a lot of talk on the radio with Jeff Simmons. He's trying to keep his concentration. If we remember back at Homestead at our season opener, the first 1.5-mile super speedway that we visited, he was a dominant force early in the race until he got into some lap traffic. Again at Kansas, he was very strong. He had some engine trouble. He had some alternator trouble. Here, they had a lot of trouble in practice. They didn't get a lot of practice. It wasn't trouble per se. It was trouble finding the right gearing package. And Davey Hamilton, I know we've talked a lot about this so far this year, especially with these Pro Series cars, how important that gear is. And he was all over that rev limiter in qualifying, and they did not want that same problem during the race. But 6th gear was just too tall. So they've been struggling with the gearing package here so far, and it looks like they've guessed right.
That's right, Amy. I mean, the gearing is so important in these cars. They've had a problem with the gearing, getting the right gear for the size of the racetracks they run. So some guys are on the limiter, some guys don't quite get to it. Which is the best? Depends on what racetrack, but they do look like they have it right today. But Brandon Irwin trying to make a pass. He just about, he got up high in turns 3 and 4 and lost 2 positions.
Yeah, Amy was telling us about the gear situation, and Brandon just suddenly went up across the racetrack way wide in turns 3 and 4, and has now lost 3 spots. Now tries to come back after Tom Wood and take the spot away. Here's a battle back in the pack for 5th position. Corey Witherill has been able to get by Ed Carpenter as you ride along with Ed Carpenter, who's got his hands full. He's been making some adjustments, been changing some gears on the Futaba Delphi machine there for Ford Racing.
Well, Corey has something. As you mentioned earlier, how fast he was, and he had some of the faster laps. So he just turned a 182-mile-an-hour lap, where the leader, Jeff Simmons, had a 179-mile-an-hour lap. So he definitely has something in his pocket, but we'll see if he can make up the time with the amount of races left.
Corey Witherill, a WSA Healthcare machine, driving for Himmelgarn Johnson Motorsports. They won last year at Nashville Speedway. Has yet to get a win this year. Jeff Simmons, who won last week, trying to hold off this battle side by side. Tiago Medeiros, the best he has looked since early in the year. They got a new engine in this car this week, and they were very, very excited about what could happen here today.
Well, Tiago, that team, and us as well, expected a lot more out of Tiago with having some wins by now in this series, but because he looked so strong at the start of the year, but it looks like he's coming back. They're getting that team together. I think he's getting more comfortable with the ovals. We've got to remember, he is not an oval racer, and you know, he's just trying to learn as he goes.
Tiago Medeiros coming out of Formula 3 South America, the same place that gave us Elio Castroneves and Bruno Junqueira. Simmons together chasing here in Kentucky. Back in just a moment. Back at Sparta, Kentucky Speedway. Great Indy Racing League Infiniti Pro Series action. We've had a battle for 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Jeff Simmons has led the first 45 laps, but the battle for 2nd has been sensational between 2 teammates. Sam Smith Racing efforts for Tom Wood in the 9 car and Brandon Irwin back in the 99.
Sam's nervous, I'll guarantee you. If I'm a team owner, I don't like all that much. But, you know, they're running 2nd and 3rd, which is great. But what they might do, they've been side by side and so close to each other throughout this race, is if they can get nose to tail and do team tactics, really, to go after Jeff Simmons, kind of gang up on him, use the draft to their advantage. But they both want to win the race. They're not, you know, no team orders here, that's for sure.
Here goes Brandon Irwin trying to get by Tom Wood down the back straightaway, and they are still wheel to wheel in turn 3 and 4. And Irwin will have it by half a car length out of turn 4. Jeff Simmons, a leader, right in front of them, about 5 car lengths in front, and they are inches apart at 190 miles an hour. Here comes Corey Witherill on the inside. That's Witherill now running in 4th position.
It seems like these Sam Schmidt cars, a lot of the past races that we've had, they are so close in setup, and these 2 drivers seem to like that same setup and run wheel to wheel, side by side. And like I say, if I'm Sam Schmidt and Sam Schmidt Motorsports, it makes you nervous because you never know when they may touch and take each other out. That doesn't stand for a good team meeting.
No, not at all. Well, battle now back here. Here's Tiago Medeiros trying to move back and challenge Corey Witherill for position. Medeiros is up high in the blue and white car, the 36 machine. That's Witherill down low. And the Himmelgarn Johnson machine for Ron Himmelgarn and Roger Johnson. Again, Jeff Simmons is our leader, coming fresh off that win in St. Louis in the Gateway 100. Tom Wood in 2nd spot. There is Tom now moving in on Simmons, and Wood looks high.
You see Simmons, he is not going to give up that inside line. That is the fastest way around here and the shortest way around here. So even though Tom Wood gets a run on him, he's going to have to do it on the outside, and that's not easy. Jeff Simmons has been able to hold all the other challengers off, and as of now, he's holding off Tom Wood as well.
Tom Wood, a rookie in Infiniti Pro Series action. Here's a good race for a couple of the young Lions. Ed Carpenter trying to make a move on Ari Leyendijk Jr. Leyendijk Jr. came up with that great 3rd place finish last week after having his car nearly destroyed in that final warm-up. And there's a piece of debris flapping on the roll hoop there just behind Leyendijk's head as Carpenter now makes the move to try to go by Leyendijk and take the spot away. That's for 6th position.
Looks like he has a little debris on the hood engine cowling of Ari's car, but that shouldn't slow him down any as long as it doesn't go down inside the engine cowling and block off the flow of the air to the engine. But Ari's slowly moving up. He started in the back. He's trying to get moved up. Right now he's in 6th place, and so he's having a good day. Not as good as he wants because he wants to win one of these races this year.
And some debris coming off one of the cars. Oh. Heavy impact.
Tom Wood.
And Tom Wood's car, part of the front of that car coming apart and heavy impact in the right side of the wall, the front end on the right side at over 180 miles an hour as Wood was running in second spot. And we saw a couple of parts come off the front of that car, and Wood has now slammed the wall hard up in turn 3, ridden the concrete around between turns 3 and 4, and come to rest there in the middle of the groove just entering turn 4.
It was a very, very hard hit. Just hope that he's okay. And didn't really get to see what happened yet. Maybe we can see a replay here to run in second. Everything looked so good. And like I say, this track normally is fairly easy. He may have had a puncture in a tire or, you know, something mechanical on the car sent him up in the wall.
Tom Wood, 46 years of age, out of Calgary, Alberta, Canada, came to this series from Formula 2000. Had run some Formula Atlantic and Formula Fords. Having a great run here, running second most of the day here, challenging for the lead when suddenly, like something down the backstretch, like a part or something in the car just sort of snapped. We saw something go up in the air, a piece of debris, and the car overtly just jerks up across the track into the outside wall.
You know, we got to remember that maybe we can see it here. Oh yeah, definitely something. Something definitely came off the race car, and
was that his or that was off Brandon Irwin's car?
Brandon Irwin's car.
And his car jerks to the right and tags Wood. Watch the contact there. Cut his tire, and they make contact, and Wood goes into the wall.
Interesting. Something did come off Brandon Irwin's car, but as Tom Wood went in, whether the air came off the car or he had a cut down tire or something caused him. Right, you can, as they're going down the back straightaway, we can see right here. Brandon's going to go down to the bottom side. Oh, that's exactly right.
Oh, the wing, the right front wing.
Right front wing. There's the teammate thing that we were just talking about. He cut down Tom Wood's tire with that right front wing, and unfortunately, both cars are done. Both cars are really done and out of a chance. That's that team meeting we were talking about that you don't want to do, and just a mistake by Brandon by running in the back of Tom Wood, cutting his tire down, and sending him very, very hard into the wall.
Well, Sam Smith's worst nightmare. He has two cars running second and third. He says, race each other, guys. Don't wreck each other. And that incident ends up possibly taking both cars out of this race. Back in a moment. Our Speed World coverage of Infiniti Pro Series action from Kentucky Speedway is being brought to you by Firestone, America's tire since 1900. Back at Kentucky, still under yellow. Violent impact on lap 52 between teammates Brandon Irwin and Tom Wood. It all began coming down the backstretch. Take a look now. Watch the back of Tom Wood's car in the front of Brandon Irwin. Contact there. The right front wing is gone. And watch the left rear tire for Wood starting to shred and come apart. And Davey, when that happens as a driver, there's not a whole lot you can do. It's no speed.
He had no chance. Matter of fact, he probably didn't even realize he got touched. I mean, those wings are so fragile, and it was such a light impact that he felt that one, though. That was a huge, huge accident. And I'll guarantee you that's he's not feeling too good after that one. Let's just hope that he's okay and you know, he can continue on for the next one.
Into the back straightaway, they're probably running 187, 188 miles an hour. So, and well, they did pick up Brandon Irwin, or Tom Wood. Basically, the rescue teams were there. Brandon Irwin has gone back to pit road. Let's check in with Amy.
Well, Brandon, we just looked at that replay together. Tell me a little bit about what you felt out there.
Yeah, I was going to try to make a run underneath him, and he was protecting his line some, and I didn't pull out early enough, and my right front wing looks like it's caught his left rear, and then it shredded his tire, and it looked like when we were going in there, I knew that I couldn't hold the corner. I was off the gas just trying to stay out of his way, but it looked like he cut a tire, and that's what put him in the wall. So I just hope my teammate's okay, man. It just it's bad for a driver like me. I don't like the feeling of you know, of not knowing if he's okay or not. But I just want to thank Sam Schmidt Motorsports and all our sponsors, Network Golf, and everybody that helped us out get here. And hopefully we'll be back in Chicago.
A lot of concern down here in the Sam Schmidt Motorsports team.
And Amy, two teammates who are running second and third behind this guy, Jeff Simmons, and hoping to be able to use their team luck or team efforts to go by. As here goes Corey Witherill trying to make a move by Simmons. Simmons has not been passed all day long, and now Witherill will get a half a car out for a nose out in front of Simmons off of turn 2.
I think that's the biggest run that anybody has had on Jeff Simmons, but we don't know if it's going to hold.
Still in your numbers, you see him.
Inches apart.
Clear.
And that's Simmons' radio there telling me that he's been able to get back by. And Jeff Simmons has been awfully strong in 3 and 4 and coming off turn 4.
He can stay right on the bottom of the racetrack where the other guys seem to move up a little bit. And Corey, as we talked earlier, he's had some big numbers in laps. He's been very fast, had a lot of speed. And even though the speed shows faster, he still has that bigger circle to make. He has to go around the outside of Jeff Simmons. So he's lost a little ground. We'll see if Thiago can get by Corey now. That's
Thiago Medeiros, a Brazilian, up high in the 36 car. Gentleman Racing Machine. There'll be 3 laps to go. It'll be 2 to go when they come back this time.
All right. Still there.
Medeiros
Still there.
has finished second twice this year. Witherill has finished second twice, including last week at St. Louis. Neither of these 2 guys running second and third have won in 2003 Infiniti Pro Series action.
And if I'm in Jeff Simmons or Ari Lindike Jr., who's running board, I like seeing that. I like seeing the guys in front of me running side by side, so maybe I can catch them. But then if I'm Jeff Simmons, I like watching the guys behind me run side by side. Let them fight and let me try to get away.
White flag, final lap at Kentucky Speedway, 1.5 mile. Beautiful oval here in Northern Kentucky. What a race in the Infiniti Pro Series. Jeff Simmons trying to hold off down the back straightaway. Here goes Medeiros to the inside of Witherill. And Witherill slams the door. Medeiros slides high in turn 4, and Jeff Simmons will hold on and win 2 in a row in the Indy Racing League Infiniti Pro Series. What a finish. For Keith Duesenberg and Western Union, Simmons wins 2 in a row. It'll be Simmons, Witherill, Thiago Medeiros, Ari Lindike Jr., and Ed Carpenter in the top 5. And 6 through 10, Aaron Fike, Gary Peterson, Paul Dana, Brandon Irwin, you heard a moment ago, who had to head back to the garage area with that damage. Tom Wood. By the way, we are told that Tom Wood is awake and alert. That is great news from the Indy Racing League folks. Dr. Henry Bach and company. Awake and alert for Tom Wood. He will be credited with the 10th place finish. G.J. Menon, Billy Rowe, and Mark Taylor, the points leader, who was sick today and was not able to start this event. Just the 4th time in series history a driver has led wire to wire. Jeff Simmons led all 67 laps. He's standing by in our Firestone victory lane with Amy East.
And last week he was our winner, and he admitted it wasn't his best drive, even though with 2 to go he was sitting in the 3rd position last week. This week you led every lap, dominant, even a lot of side-by-side. How rewarding is this win today?
It's great for everybody at the Western Union Speed Team. I mean, we've been working hard all year, and we were waiting to get that breakthrough win, and it looks like we finally got the monkey off our back and a little bit of luck on our side. It was a shame kind of to see Mark Taylor not be able to start because he was ill. We don't like to win races that way. We want to try to win with the top competition out there, but it's still great for us. We'll take it, and we'll move on from here and keep trying to chase down Mark for the points lead.
Well, and that is what he'll look for now, a championship in the Infiniti Pro Series.
Thanks, Amy. 2 in a row for Jeff Simmons. Next stop, we head to the Windy City for the Chicagoland 100, September 11th, 4 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2. For Amy East, Davey Hamilton, and our entire ESPN crew, I'm Jerry Punch. Once again, congratulating Jeff Simmons, who made it 2 in a row by winning today at Kentucky Speedway. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com. Jeff Simmons and Team Duesenberg are winner at Kentucky.